going on, everybody? And welcome to another episode of Ron 2's Motivation and Conversation. I'm your host, Lyles, and it's my job to make you think and motivate you to keep going, growing, and flowing into a life of a better and more improved you. Yes. And wherever you're watching me from in the world today, I say to you, hello. Yeah. And we're having a great episode today. Yes, we are. We're going to be talking about the power of affirmation. The power of affirmation. And this topic is so good, we can't just visit it with one video. No. We have to visit it in a two-part series. So I'm going to be doing this episode, and I have another episode coming right behind this one, talking about the power of affirmation. Yes. And if you like or love any of the content, always remember that if you like it, you love it, please, ma'am, sir, do me a favor and click the subscribe and like buttons and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of any brand new content that we have coming out on this channel. All right? Once again, I say to everybody watching, thank you for watching. Now, if you're not following me on social media, my Instagram handle is @officialronlyles, @officialronlyles. And if you're not following me on Facebook, you can search me out, just simply Ron Lyles. All right, Ron Lyles on Facebook. Okay, I would love to have you all be a part of my social media family. Now, let's dive into this pool of the power of affirmation. Let's dive into this. Now, of course, I love to start off my episodes with a definition of the subject that we are speaking about. And so affirmation just simply means the state of affirming or to affirm. All right. So we're going to look at what it means to affirm. All right. Let's look at this. To affirm, it means this: to state, to confirm, to express agreement with or commitment to. That's powerful right there. To uphold or support, and to support someone by giving approval, recognition, or encouragement. Now, I like that middle portion that says to express agreement with or commitment to. That's very important. And you must know that in that, affirmation begins with you. It begins with me. It begins with all of us. But personally, those that's watching right now, it begins with you. Once you begin to consistently state declarations out of your mouth, you'll begin to come into an agreement and a commitment with those statements. And this will uphold and support your mindset, and then you'll walk it out through manifestation. This is the process of affirmation that we call the affirmation, the transformation, and the manifestation. All right, let me break it down. There's an affirmation declared, then a transforming of the mind that transitions to the manifestation of what was initially declared. In other words, if we broke it down into floral terms, the affirmation is the seed, the transformation is the photosynthesis or the process, and the manifestation is the growth of the full flower. And a lot of times what I'm finding and what we're finding is that with people, they see sprouts as the flower grows, and they think that the flower is fully grown. And so they pluck it up, they dig it up, they pick it up, not knowing that the flower still has a process to go through. The flower hasn't fully finished its course of manifestation. So a lot of you out there that's watching me right now, you can't cut the flower off, or you can't cut the affirmations off in the midst of your process. You still have to quote these affirmations. You have to speak over yourself. You have to believe over yourself, even in the midst of your photosynthesis, if you will, or your process, if you will, your transformation. You still have to quote these affirmations, quote these things over yourself, these things of belief, these statements of belief. You have to quote it over yourself so that you can see yourself grow into the full manifestation of what the affirmations are all representing in the first place. All right. Listen, I remember I went over to a friend's house before he relocated to the city of Houston, Texas. And I remember he sat me down in his office And he said, Ron, he said, I want to show you something that I do every day. Now, mind you, he's a very wealthy man. Even to this point, he's still wealthy. And it would appear that he had everything that anybody could ever want. But he began to share his testimony with me in his times of struggle. But this is one thing that stuck with me. He pulled out a piece of paper as we're sitting in his office. And he said, Ron, I want you to look at this. And when I looked on that white sheet of paper, it was about 20 to 30 affirmations on that paper. It was a page full. And he said, I recite these affirmations over myself multiple times a day. He said, I say them so much to the point to where I literally believe what I say. And as I believe it, then I begin to walk it out. Daily, I walk it out. Daily, I do these things. Daily, I say these things. And by the time he even looked up and knew, literally, the affirmations that he was quoting on that paper, on that white sheet of paper, he was literally living out those affirmations. So affirmations are very, very important. Never underestimate the power of affirmations. Never underestimate the power of speaking. Never underestimate the power of believing. Never underestimate the power of receiving. What that affirmation can get to you if you speak it, if you believe it, and you receive it. All right. Now, you need to know this right here. There has to be a belief in what you say. If you're going to speak an affirmation, you have to believe what you say. You have to believe it. Even if your situation is bleak, your situation can be darker than a cloudy sky. Your situation can literally show you no evidence of what you're speaking. But if you believe what you say, you can see what you say. There's a reason why life and death lies in the power of the tongue. There's a reason for that. So you must understand and you must know that if you're going to speak something, you have to believe it. And watch this. Even if you don't believe it when you first start speaking it, guess what's going to happen? It's going to go back to what we said before. That affirmation is going to cause a transformation. Oh, yes. You're going to speak it so much to where now your mind starts thinking about it. Your mind's going to think about it, and then ultimately you're going to start believing it. But you have to be consistent in your speaking. All right. Point 2. Here's another one. Big one. You have to change what you say. In essence, we must change our conversation. We must change our conversation. When we change what we say and own it, our life will yield up the fruits of it. Listen, what do we call the section that the fruits and the vegetables sit in the grocery store? We call it the produce section, right? Why? Because everything in that section started with the seed and it went through a process to be produced. When you change what you say, when you change your conversation, you'll transform and you'll produce results. Yeah, so you have to change your conversation. I'll never will forget it. I was in Jamaica with my family and with some friends of ours. And I never will forget a brother by the name of Marquette Dixon, brother and friend of mine. We sat out on that beach and we looked at that water and just the full glory of Jamaica. My goodness. And he said, Ron, he said, as men and as leaders, we have to change our conversation. We have to change the way we speak. In order for things to shift in our lives, we have to change our conversation. And that was critical. That is critical to growth. Listen, I don't know who you are and where you are, but you must understand that you must change your conversation in order to shift things in your life by way of affirmation. Listen, I couldn't go to college speaking the way I did in elementary school. I had to change my conversation. I couldn't even make it through middle and high school speaking the way I did in elementary school. I had to change my conversation. If you want to see a shift in your life, if you want to see a shift by way of affirmations, you have to change the way you speak. You have to change the way you believe. And you have to change the way that you receive. You have to be confident. You have to believe in what you are trying to affirm yourself in. Come on, talk to me. Listen, so that's why changing your conversation is all the more important. Listen, you need to learn this right here as well. Affirmation will determine your ascension. Affirmation will determine your ascension. How high you go will be determined by your affirmation level. Watch this. A rocket can't lift off without confirmation or agreement. Come on now, we're talking about affirmation. I don't care how powerful a rocket is. Before that rocket can blast off into outer space, before that rocket can blast off into orbit, guess what? It has to wait on a confirmation or a signal call or an affirmation from the designated person that, okay, now it's safe to go into space. Watch this. A plane can't take off without approval or affirmation from the cockpit. Yeah, a plane cannot take off without approval or affirmation or confirmation from the designated person telling, okay, it's fine to take off now. You can do it. Watch this. Success can't fully flourish without affirmation. Let me say it again. Success can't fully flourish without affirmation. I'm going to use this analogy before I end out this first episode. It's part one. Check this out. A car, I don't care how powerful the engine is. It could be a Hemi. It could be a supercharged. It could be a turbo. It could be a whatever, a V8, V6, whatever. I don't care how many horses is under that hood. I don't care how many horses are under that hood. All-wheel drive, anti-lock, whatever it is. I don't care how many horses are under that hood. If the engine runs out of oil, guess what? It eventually locks up. And it's no good to the person driving. And it will not take you anywhere. I don't care how powerful it is. Why? Because it's missing the substance that it needs to carry it or fuel the power or fuel what's up under the hood. And literally, affirmation is just like that oil. Affirmation is just like that oil. You need affirmation. We need affirmation to fuel our drive to take us where we need to go. Yes. Affirmation is that fuel to take us exactly to where we need to go. And I'm finding that some people, the reason why you're stuck, the reason why you're stagnated, the reason why it seems that you're not moving is because you're literally starving yourself of affirmations. You're deprived of affirmations. You're deprived of it. And so in essence, you can't go as far as you could go because simply you don't have nothing fueling that engine within you. You don't have anything fueling that desire within you. But affirmations are very, very key. Speak over yourself. Believe it. Receive it for yourself. And literally watch things start to shift around you. Watch things start to turn around you. Because you have an understanding that if I speak it, I can believe it. And if I believe it, I can receive it. In other words, I can start with the affirmation. In turn, that becomes the transformation. In turn, to see the manifestation. All right? Affirmation, declaration, transformation of mindset, manifestation of the full affirmation. I love y'all. I'll see y'all on part 2 of this episode. We're going to keep talking about affirmation. All right? I'll see you all soon.